Palace of Versailles is one of the greatest palaces ever built, and it is the finest example of secular Baroque architecture. Since 1837, the Palace of Versailles is open to be a public museum. Evidece in Paris is one of the greatest masterpieces of French Baroque architecture. It was built as a retirement home and hospital for veterans between 1671 and 1678. And nowadays it is a museum of the French Army, a museum of military models, and museum of contemporary history. Aeneas and Kisses and Ascanius is a sculpture by the Italian artist Gian Lorenzo Bernini. It was created around 1618, and it is housed in the Galleria Borghese in Rome. The sculpture depicts a scene from the Aeneid. Sea of St. Teresa is the central sculptural group in white marble set in an elevated atticle in the Cornaro Chapel, Santa Maria della Vittoria, Rome. It was designed and completed by Gian Lorenzo Bernini, the leading sculptor of his day, who also designed the setting of the chapel in the marble, stucco, and paint. It is generally considered to be one of the sculptural masterpieces of the High Roman Baroque. The Garden of Love was painted by Peter Paul Rubens. He was one of the greatest Baroque painters, and he is known for being the prince of painters and the painter of princes. His work was highly influenced by historical and mythological ideas, and his unique painting style came to be associated with the Counter-Reformation. Landscape with a Calm. It was painted by Nicolas Poussin, who was founder of the French classical tradition, which is described as embodying the opposite traits of Caravaggio. His paintings were calm, logical, and at the same time imbued with philosophical musings.
The Basilica of San Giorgio Maggiore, architecturally influential church in Venice. It was designed in 1566 by Andrea Palladio and finished in 1610 by Vincenzo Scamozzi. The church stands on the island of San Giorgio Maggiore, opposite of the monumental San Marco Basilica. Its facade shows a characteristically arrangement of classical elements, in which a screen of columns separates the high altar from the monastic choir behind it. The Tempietto is a small circular chapel in the courtyard of San Pietro in Rome. It was commissioned by Ferdinand and Isabella of Spain and was built in 1502 after designs made by Donato Bramante. The design was inspired by a particular type of classical temple, built on a circular plan and surrounded by columns. It is remarkable for its elegantly simple reinterpretation of classical forms, and it is regarded as one of the finest examples of high Renaissance architecture. The Pietà by Michelangelo, as a theme in Christian art, is a depiction of the Virgin Mary supporting the body of the dead Christ. It was widely represented in both painting and sculpture, being one of the most touching visual expressions of popular concern with the emotional aspects of the lives of Christ and the Virgin. The sculpture of Hercules and the Centaurnesses was completed in 1599 by Gian Bologna. The sculpture was carved from a single block of marble, and it sits in the open-air gallery loggia on the Piazza della Signora in Florence, among the square's other famous marble occupants. The Birth of Venus by Botticelli is tempera on canvas, and it shows the goddess of love and beauty arriving on land, born of the sea spray and blown there by the winds. Botticelli takes his inspiration from classical statues for Venus' modest pose, as she covers her nakedness with long blonde hair. There is nothing written about the painting before 1550, as it was commissioned by a member of a rich family since the mid of 15th century. Primavera, also by Sandro Botticelli, is tempera grassa on wood, and it shows 9 figures from classic mythology advancing over a flowery lawn in a grove of orange and laurel trees. The center of the painting is dominated by the goddess of love and beauty, Venus. It is painted on a poplar wood backing in towards the end of the 15th century. The Biblioteca Palafoxiana was founded in 1646, and it was the first public library in America, and it faithfully conserves its tradition of intellectual and cultural European heritage. As architecture, there was the Metropolitan Cathedral of the Assumption of the Most Blessed Virgin Mary into Heaven, and it is the seat of the Catholic Archdiocese of Mexico. Another sculpture was Jesus de la Merced, and it was the first Baroque piece in Guatemala, and it was done by Mateo de Zúñiga between 1654 and 1655. A sculpture of New Spain was the Retablo de los Santos Reyes, which was made in 1696, and it's located in Metztitlan. The paintings of New Spain were the casta paintings by an anonymous author, and they were meant to signify and explain the varying categories of people. Another painting was the China Cambuja by Miguel Cabrera, who, along with Juan Patricio Ruiz, created complete sets of paintings, providing a unique and intriguing view of a society where intermixing was common.
This church is a Gothic church. There are a lot of differences with Gothic cathedrals. These cathedrals have many more windows and much bigger windows, and so they are not dark like the Romanesque churches. The Taj Mahal was built by Mughal Emperor as a mausoleum for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, who died in childbirth. Head of an apostle. No documentation survives to pinpoint this head's original location. The head, broken off at the neck, was probably part of a column statue. Its condition suggests that it was protected from the elements either indoors or in a sheltered exterior spot. Head of Christ. In the late Middle Ages, encouraged the believers' intense emotional empathy in the suffering of Christ. Here, stone is transformed into flesh by the actual wood thorns piercing the forehead. Madonna and Child. It was drawn by Duccio di Buniserna in Italy. For a large church altar prices, it was necessary to join together independently painting panels with an elaborate frame. Usually the Madonna and Child were shown on the main panels. The Adoration of the Magi. It was also drawn by Giotto di Bonde. This picture belongs to a series of 7 showings of the life of Christ.
The Pyramid of the Moon is located in the northern part of Teotihuacan,
and its outline imitates Cerro Gordo, called in Nahuatl Tenan, which means mother or protector of stone. It is the second largest building in Teotihuacan after the Pyramid of the Sun. Perfect symmetry and are characterized by their shape and stair access to reach the top. In some foundations, as in Teotihuacan, the stairs are on the side, and in others, such as in Chichen Itza, they are located on all four faces. Olmec colossal heads are stone representations of human heads sculpted from large basalt boulders. They range in height from 1.17 to 3.4 meters. The head date from at least 900 before Christ and are a distinctive figure. Coyolyauki. Its name means the one with the makeup cheeks, or the one with the bells on the face. It is a large oval disc measuring approximately 3.40 times 2.9 meters and 40 centimeters thick, representing the dismembered moon goddess after being defeated by her brother Huitzilopochtli, god of the sun, in a mythical combat. The original painting is La Reina el Huipil, the Pehuan Indian showing her huipil in the river. This work shows one of the most important parts of Mexican culture is that huipil garment used by Mexican women with phosphorescent colors by Rodolfo Gutierrez Mendoza, artist.
It is believed that the American continent's oldest rock art, 7,500 years old, is found in a cave on the peninsula of Baja California. The pre-Hispanic art of Mexico belongs to a cultural region known as Mesoamerica, which roughly corresponds to central Mexico on into Central America.